Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about just one dime and my experience with it and just kind of, where we're at in the process. So, without further ado, let's get right to it. And I'm also going to, tell you guys a little bit about what I have going on, what I've been up to, different streams of income I've been, creating, just kind of diversify myself, and I'll get into all that as well. But I know a lot of you have asked me, about the Just One Dime program. The thing is, I haven't had any updates because there hasn't been any updates. That's the thing. I can't obviously talk about the details or specifics of my product, and I have non-disclosure, so I can, tell you about the program and kind of tell you about what's been going on. One of the big issues that I think a lot of investors have been having. So let's get right to it. So the biggest issue that I've had. So the reason I did one dime is because I wanted to have somebody else creating a business on the side while I did my business in addition, or businesses in addition. So I can create another form of income and they can build it because there's only so much I can do. It's hard to create multiple. I'm already doing multiple things. I'm already very busy. So if I can have somebody else, professionals that I highly respect, doing it as well, that's even better. So, in short, to give you an idea of what the Just One Dime Done For You program is, those of you that don't know, Seth Kniep runs it, and I highly respect the guy. I've watched a ton of his videos. Just One Dime is the company. I've never taken their FBA courses or anything. I actually had a different mentor and a different path, but it worked out really well. I ended up selling my business, and I think anybody who's watched my videos has seen that. Anyway, so Seth Kniep, highly respected dude. My brand builder, Patrick, highly respect him as well. They're both they have great success stories and just have made a ton of money in this game doing Amazon. And they're the ones that are, Patrick specifically is my brand builder. So, these guys are so knowledgeable, and basically the program is the general knowledge which is out there, and he's covered it in his videos. Is like you pay 30 grand up front, and that's for them to like put everything together, to do everything, to do the work, right, to run the business. And then there's 30 grand you pay to launch the products, and that's supposed to be 3 products. So many of the things that have changed, that they talked about, and I've already known this from being an Amazon seller myself, is shipping's gone absolutely bonkers, right? You're talking, shipping's gone from 4 or 5 grand a container to 20 plus grand a container. When the pandemic hit, it was great for e-commerce because everything shot up. The problem was people weren't going on vacations. People weren't driving. They weren't paying for their college loans. It's been frozen, right? Like, I'm not trying to get political, but all this extra money, stim checks are getting pushed into people's pockets, and all this money was being spent online to have stuff delivered to your house because nobody was going out and doing anything, right? Because of COVID. So that causes an unbelievable surge of demand for products. And what happened was they ran out of shipping containers in China, couldn't even ship over, and the prices went bonkers, right? So now you pay 4 or 5 times as much for the same shipping costs as you used to. On top of that, which I did not know, is they covered, like, some of these factories in China are getting shut down by the government. They're only able to operate maybe 20-30% of the time. So they've raised their costs to try to make up for that. And that's limited to how much they can produce. And a lot of it has to do with COVID, and just the government can kind of do what they want over there. They can shut people down. So I didn't know that aspect of it. But there's so many other factors there that have just caused it to go crazy. The price of everything. Inflation's gone nuts, right? I mean, now the war in Ukraine, you got gas going crazy. Again, don't want to get political. I mean, that's not the only reason the gas is going up. But anyway, so, all these things combined, the biggest issue I had with Just One Dime, and that's, all these things are factoring into, I guess, the reason why it's taken much longer than I anticipated. First, I didn't anticipate One Dime to take a year or more. I mean, I've talked to investors that have taken 18 months, and I never would have expected it would take that long. But with everything that's been going on, it's kind of understandable. But I've launched products, and I was able to do it in 4 or 5 months, or 3 months even. I've done one product in 3 months, but that's almost impossible now with shipping time. Unless you're going to airship or something, that's way too pricey. Or if you're going to source it somewhere closer. But I mean, to make a long story short, things have changed quite a bit. and prices have gone bonkers. So that's a big factor. But they're also, they're meticulous, they're surgical with like getting the products right, and they have to get smaller quantities. So they have to find a factory that can agree to this. And the factories don't want to agree to make 100. So they have to find the right factory. They have to find the right place to ship from. They have to find a factory that's open enough to be able to make the products and be able to get them in the small quantities and a price they can agree on for such a small quantity, which is difficult to do. So there's a lot of factors there that are going against, let's just say going against e-commerce sellers in general. So the big issue major issue that I had was communication was so poor. I wouldn't get updates sometimes for 4 months, and like that's crazy. Like I shouldn't have to wait 4 months. So I talked to the other investors, and we kind of said the same thing. They're like, I haven't heard anything in months. I have no idea what's going on. So we're all thinking like, I'm hearing people bring up, is this a scam? And it crossed my mind like, well, there's no way, right? Because I had so much trust. These would be like the best con artists in the world, if some of the best in the world, because I had seen what they did. They have such. Put it this way, why would you be a con person or a scam artist if you have a business that's, your whole business is based off of trust, right? Like, what I mean by that is it's a YouTube video. Like Seth Kennedy has a YouTube video, right? He has multiple businesses. Like, if he were to defame himself because of a project or something would happen where, he would be called some kind of con artist, like that would ruin his business. Why would he ever do that? So there would be no incentive for him or the builders to rip us off, right? Because their interests are tied to ours. Because not only that, they get a percentage. It's a sliding scale, and I don't want to go into the details, but it's a sliding scale. They get percentages of the sales. So it's not just the $30,000 up front. It sounds like a lot, but when they're doing all the work, if you can make 30% return, then we would split 15-15. But it's a sliding scale, and it varies. And if you want to see the details, I'm sure you can find those online. But my point is, why would somebody want to ruin their reputation, which is so massive, and you make so much money from that reputation? There would be no reason somebody would want to do that. Now, the lack of communication was affecting everybody greatly. The investors I talked to, I was just concerned. We weren't being told anything. We weren't being told of any updates. And I don't need to have my hand held through it, but I just wanted to know, are we almost ready to launch? Like, where are we at to get samples? Just, a couple updates would be nice. So we had a meeting today with all the investors, and they covered that, and they were really upfront about that. They said, yeah, our communications has been bad. That's been our feedback. So they created a new communication system, which is being rolled out. So the investors will be able to get better updates, which I think is fantastic. That brings a tremendous amount of trust back into it. And, it's taken a while. It's taken a lot longer than I anticipated, but there's also a lot of issues out there. And, they're working with a limited budget, and they're trying to get the promise done that they put in the contract. And that's understandable. I feel a lot better about it now. But all I really wanted from the get-go was some communication. And I probably should have asked more questions up front, and I didn't. And maybe I just didn't know what to ask, but I should have asked, what's our timeline? Are we going to launch in 6 months? Are we going to launch in a year and a half? Like, what's our timeline? So the reality of it is I feel a lot better about things now. I'm really hoping we can get a product in by, I'm hoping, August, September. I know the last I heard about my specific product, I can't go into details, of course, about it. I have no disclosure, nor would I do that because it would just hurt me. So basically, yeah, like I heard, like they were getting some couple samples in for a couple of the 2 out of the 3, and hopefully if those are good, we'll look to do a launch. So that's when I'll come up with the rest of the money to do that. Another very interesting thing I heard them talking about, and I don't know all the details, is online arbitrage. They're going to do stores that, from what I understand, and this could be incorrect, but you might be able to do a hybrid store where you do a half online arbitrage and maybe part private label, which is really cool. And if you don't know what online arbitrage is, it just means you're buying stuff like wholesale, like legit stuff, like you're buying Coca-Cola, right? And you're selling it, for more money. You're buying it cheaper and selling it for more on Amazon. That's essentially what you're doing. Like name brand products for the most part. You're buying name brand products and you're selling them. So they're going to run that type of business as almost like a pivot, which I thought was brilliant if they can pull it off. It sounds like they can. It sounds like they hired a bunch of people to do it. So it's really brilliant. So for those that don't want to go down the private label route because of all things have changed, they basically are saying, yeah, we can do this online arbitrage, or maybe do that in addition to private label. So it's a very interesting pivot, and I thought that was very interesting. I just don't know how it's going to come of it, but I'm interested in having them possibly do that and private label. I just don't know if that's an option. I'm going to have to talk to them and kind of see what's going on. But for the most part, I feel a lot better about what's happening now. And I did write my builder probably a month or two ago and explained, like, I was really upset about the communication. I need more information. I don't feel good about it unless they're giving me something. And I think he understood, and he did. He got me some more info, and that's where I got that info I just shared with you before. But in general, and I told them this, and I think a lot of other investors did too, because I talked to a couple of them, and they said his communication is just poor. It's just too bad. So they're really working to fix that aspect of it. So I really feel good about that. I feel good about One Dime Done For You program. I can't, tell you any specifics or results because we don't have any yet. But I'll tell you, I feel good about where it's going, and I feel a lot more confident about where it's going. And my mind's been kind of set at ease because they finally came out and were like, hey, this is what's happening. We're going to make this better. And he's very transparent about everything in the meeting. I think Seth Kniep answered questions for like 2 hours. Almost, or like 180, 190 some questions, which I thought was great. Like, who does that? He even skipped another meeting and sat there and did that. So I feel good about the program. So people that have asked, I haven't had anything to share, but now that I do, again, I can't go into specifics because of the NDA, but I do feel much better about them in general. Before I'd give them a 7 simply because communication was so bad. Now I'd probably do a 9 or a 10 because I feel good about where we're going, and I'm excited for what they're going to do, and I hope we can crush it with that, and then have another business just bringing in more income. So any questions about that, please hit me up. But again, I can't go into specifics because I have a non-disclosure. You'd best be, direct those questions to just One Dime themselves, right? So just talk about, where I've been and what I've been doing lately. Let me break down my sources of income here and kind of where I'm going. And I want to create multiple sources because you just never know what's going to happen, and it's good to have, it's good to have diversity. So I started Facebook Shops, which has been great. I started with FBM Fox. I had another video on this. If you guys haven't watched it, check it out. If you don't have a lot of money, I highly recommend you start with FBM Fox. That's the software, and start with Facebook Shops if you're approved, or even Facebook Marketplace. Had about 2,000 or 3,000 listings, and we were doing well to start, and then it kind of dipped down. But we were making like 800 to 1,000 a month. But now, it's like last week, it's blown up. So we're probably going to make over 1,000 a month. And when I say us, I have a partner, so we split 50-50. So the store is probably going to make about $2,000 a month plus, and then we'll split that 1,000 each. So it's taken me like a month to get there. It's been so fast. And now the store is growing in popularity. I'm getting more orders. And you build your trust, you build your ratings up, and I think if you add listings, remove listings, it helps the algorithm. So Facebook Shops is kind of like the next frontier. I think it's going to make a lot of money. It's very cheap to start if you do drop shipping with Facebook Shops. And like I said, with very little effort, we're pulling in about $1,000 a month each. So not bad. I have my Amazon private label product, which I launched another variation recently. Hasn't really helped sales much. I'm launching another type of variation. I'm also working on a new product for private label. I've run into some problems with patents, just rookie mistakes. And I did end up checking the patents, but I already had a second sample made. And I realized I'm violating the entire design patent, so I have to, not all of it, but I have to go through and I have to make some changes, so it's not going to violate this patent. And I'll make a video on patents, just how you can kind of check that out and what you can do. And then I had another issue with like a copyright trademark, not a trademark, but like a copyright patent issue as well. So I'm kind of back to the drawing board in some ways, going right back and hoping to get that out within the next few months. And I'm hoping that I'll bring in another $2,000 or $3,000 a month. So I could bring in potentially 5 or 6 a month. But right now it's bringing in about 3 a month. And lastly, the biggest thing I have going on is eBay. It's been crushing. I work with a great partner. It's been unbelievable. We're talking about, we're pulling in. We split this 50-50, probably pulling in, 20-some thousand, 24, 25,000 a month, probably like 28,000, 29,000 a month, and that's split 2 ways. I have VAs and employees I pay, so you're probably talking about like $4,000 a month there. But honestly, this last month I probably pulled in about 10 grand. So just in a month. So you're talking about 10 grand there, 3 grand there, $1,000 there, it's like 14,000 a month. It's not a chump change. And, I had already sold my previous business. So yeah, that adds up, and we're working in warehouses and stuff like that, and different things. We're starting to really open up, and we're starting to do Amazon arbitrage too. So that's great. So we're really starting to push through, dealing a lot with tolls and a lot with those type of products like indoor hardware, that stuff like that. So it's been great. I mean, I'm hoping to be able to make like 300 G's a year, by the end of the year or more. Honestly, I really think we can do a lot better. But honestly, like I've been reading a lot of books and stuff, and just getting motivated, man. Just working, putting in that work. I'm hoping to be able to make $400,000 or $500,000 a year, and I'm not going to go out and blow it and be arrogant and buy some Lambo and shit like that. Like, I'm going to invest it. And honestly, I just want to get to the point where I don't have to worry about it. I can retire in a few years. I don't have to worry about shit. But I'm probably never going to retire because I love what I do. And if you're miserable sitting there at your job, and you don't feel like you have any opportunity, the fuck you don't, man. Like, excuse my language, but you have opportunity. If you live in America, you were born with opportunity, man. America is the land of opportunity still. Don't get me wrong. Like, I was a worker for 40 years. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think workers should be paid better, and I'm an advocate for that. But my point is, if you really want to go off and do your own thing and make your own money, you can do that. I mean, it takes grit, it takes risk, and you gotta put it on the line and go for it. And you gotta work extra hard. You gotta work twice as hard. So yeah, it doesn't matter what your circumstances are. Just get it $500 to $1,000. You can start on a Facebook Marketplace, make $1,000 a month. After 6 months, take that $6,000, and while you're working your full-time job, and then put that into something else. So anybody who says there's no opportunity, the online internet has created so much opportunity out there. Whether you're doing digital products, or whether you're doing physical products, or whether you're doing some kind of service, or doing courses. I mean, there's so many things you can do to make money today. Or be an influencer, which, whatever. I mean, I'm not really trying to do that, but I would like it if you like and subscribe. It'd help me out. But I'm saying there's tons of ways to make money. I mean, look how far I've come in just a few years. I went from working a 9 to 5 to selling my business within just like 2 or 3 years, making a nice chunk of change there, having my stuff paid off, my house paid off. So I got some college loans I got to take care of. But ultimately, we're working to have my wife be able to hopefully quit by the end of the year. And, she can just stay at home and do her thing, and I'll take care of everything else. And I want to get to that point where I'm making enough where all our debts are paid, and it's a freedom. Like, why would I go out and buy a freaking Lambo when, it's just going to cost? I'm going to be afraid to drive it anywhere. Probably somebody would scratch the freaking thing. My point is, it's nice to have nice things, and I don't begrudge anybody for having that. You have a nice car, you have a nice truck, fine. I mean, I want those things too, don't get me wrong. But just make sure you're in a good position where you can have your freedom. I mean, if I have to go to work every day and work for somebody, if that a job I hate or a job I can barely stand, is it worth having that nice car, having that nice house, having that nice truck? It's really not. But if I can have both, I can have the nice car, the nice house, and I can have my freedom. But my most important thing that I value is my freedom, my time with my kids, my time with to do what I want to do, to live my life the way I want to live it, to wake up when I want to wake up, to set a meeting when I want to set a meeting. Don't get me wrong, it's not just easy. It's not just butterflies and rainbows. I mean, it shit took time to build up, and I had to learn a shit ton. I had to work my ass off. I outworked everybody. When it came to I'd come home and I'd get 5 hours of sleep, and I'd be working, building this business. So I put in the work. But when you put that work in, and you gain that knowledge, and you don't have to do all the knowledge, the basis anymore, and you meet the right people and the right networking, now I can work an hour a day if I want. I mean, but if I really want to grow this and make it bigger, I'll put in 10 if I have to. I'll put in 20. Whatever it takes. But I don't have to. I can put in 3-4 hours a day and still grow it. Just depends on how fast you want to grow it, and what you want to do to make it happen. So yeah, anyway, enough of that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys have a little bit of understanding of just one dime. If you were thinking about doing it, they've closed applications. I know you can get on the wait list. But still, you're going to probably need 70, 80 grand at least, if not more, because everything's gone up so much. You're going to need to be able to restock. And the problem with that is, you sell out in 1 month and it takes 3 months to get your product back in because everything's so slow and everything's so expensive. So, if you do think about doing it, it's looking good. But at the same time, it's going to take time to build it. It's not going to happen overnight. It might take a year or two to get your products launched and to get things done. Anything's going to take time. Even the eBay business I have going on, it's doing well, but it's taken us almost about a year. We've done great. And Amazon, I've done that in about 6 months, making about 3 Gs a month. It's not bad. I could have more products that I could be doing really well. I could make a full-time income. So everything takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, except for Facebook. Honestly, the marketplace, I've been able to do that in a month or two, and it's making me $800 to $1,000 a month. That was pretty quick. So yeah, I mean, most things take time. But if you want to really do it quick, look into doing retail arbitrage, online arbitrage. If you don't know what those are, look them up. and then doing drop shipping on Facebook, they can make you money for sure. As long as you have good customer service and you do it right. So make sure you read and make sure you find the right videos. Check out previous videos if you guys have questions. Hit me up at fbacommute@gmail if you guys have any questions, and like and subscribe. Hit the comments if you have any questions about anything. And I'm glad you guys watched the video to the end. Have a great night. God bless and thank you.